Welcome to my Fire Emblem Three Houses walkthrough. We're back with the Cindered Shadows side story, which, if you want to unlock the new content in the final wave of Fire Emblem DLC, you're going to have to play. Well, there was a few other things like the dance costume, but really, this is the meat of the DLC. Now, this is very different from the main story in that your party is predetermined beforehand, and I'm just going to take some time to go through who you get. As you probably surmised from the beginning events, your party consists of Byleth, male or female. They're always a sword master. You'll have Ash, who's a sniper. Edelgard, a fortress knight. Claude, who is a wyvern rider. Linhardt, your bishop. Hilda, who is your warrior. And Dimitri, who is your paladin, however you want to pronounce it. You only get these 7 units. They all come with their own custom battalions as well. For example, Byleth has Gerald's Mercenaries. There's an easier way to view all of that. Inventory. Edelgard has the Empire Pavis Company. Claude, the Alliance Pegasi. Kingdom Knights for Dimitri. Empire Magic Corps for Linhardt. Kingdom Archers for Ash. And the Alliance Duelists for Hilda. Unlike the main story, these are set in stone. You do not get any other battalions. It's also worth taking a look at the items that everybody comes with. You'll see that Byleth has a Sword of the Creator, an Iron Sword, a Steel Sword, and a Concoction. Edelgard has a Steel Iron Axe, as you would expect, and an Iron Sword, which is rather interesting. Dimitri comes with a Steel, an Iron Lance, as well as a Javelin. Claude has a Steel Iron Bow and a Mini Bow. Linhardt has nothing, apart from his Concoction. Ash's loadout is very similar to Claude's, so I'm not going to go through it again. And Hilda has a Steel and Iron Axe like Edelgard, but she also has a Hand Axe, which is the ranged axe. Now, your objective is to defeat all of the enemy commanders. Your defeat condition, all your units fall in battle. Now, the enemy commanders, as you've probably surmised, are going to be the students of the Cindered Shadows that you saw in the beginning. So they're going to be Balthus, Happy, Constance, and finally Yuri. Now, these classes are very different from your regular opponents, so you're going to have to treat this battle a bit differently than you do normally. First off, let's begin this fight.
Who are you people anyhow?
I'm going to skip that because this is just a walkthrough. I'm going to have Edelgard move up ahead, because she's going to take some of the... She can do pretty well against the brawlers, or the grapplers I should say, and won't take too much damage. You don't want to forget about these 2 rogues right here. These assassins, they're not dangerous, but they can be a pretty nasty surprise. You've also got a couple of armored units, as well as Happy. But first, let's just focus on one thing at a time. Don't overstress yourself.
Stay focused.
Now, the first thing I'd personally do is not to rely on the Sword of the Creator. You don't want to use that just yet.
I'll cut through.
But I also want to take out the assassins, because they're going to pose a big problem.
Who's next?
There are also some cover tiles, which are helpful. However, Claude, being a flyer, cannot take advantage of them. Remember that.
I'll give it my all. Doing my part.
Those are the two assassins down. Now,
Who, me?
some players may note I didn't have to fight those assassins because I just need to defeat the enemy commanders. But it's recommended that you do take out as many units as you need to because they will. This is a bit of an endurance fight. This was part of the reason why I wanted Edelgard in the front, because Edelgard can tank quite a lot of damage. Dimitri is also a decent tank as well, but you don't want to end up relying on him too often. Now things look really bad, but fortunately Linhardt, who I want to mention right now is your only healer, can heal for a considerable amount. And his Minor Crest of Cethline will kick in a number of times in this match. But not the point. You don't want to engage Balthus in hand-to-hand in close combat. Ranged attacks are good for taking him down.
Can't shake the feeling either way.
Anything for a pretty lady. Actually, scratch that.
I'm all sweaty.
Now to take out everybody else, so I don't get killed. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to bring Byleth to the stage right this instant.
Now you know your limits.
By the way, if you mess anything up, you can press ZL to trigger a Divine Pulse. You have 10 charges of it, which is handy, just in case things go wrong. I'm going to point out that despite both of them being ranged units, Claude's reach is actually is one tile less than Ash. I mean, I guess you kind of figured that out because one's a Wyvern Rider and one is an actual sniper, but it's just helpful to remember because if you get used to Claude or Ash's range and you wonder why isn't Claude hitting with as much power as I'd like, that's probably why. Oop, I don't want to extend him that far.
Is that all? I must stay focused.
Alright, now I want to have Dimitri healed by Linhardt. It's vital that I keep everybody's health up. Also, even more important, that everybody sticks together. Now you might be wondering, why didn't I trigger this lever? You can trigger the lever. Actually, I'll waste a turn just to show you.
Nothing's happening. I think the better question is,
So you can't really trigger it, unfortunately.
I'll give it my all.
So there's no point trying to activate any of the
Me?
traps or the mechanics. You're largely stuck on your own.
I'll cut through.
So I'm gonna have to retreat.
Come to think of it, there's an easier way to handle this.
What was that? It couldn't.
Now, this is very important to remember, because Happy has basically extended her turn, summoning a giant crawler and locking herself behind a door.
Stay focused.
Now that beast is going to come at you slowly. I'm going to take this opportunity just to move everybody up.
Ready and willing.
And not step into their range just yet. Now you might as well. It's pretty easy to break those shells.
It's a lot.
And now I'll have some ranged units come in and attack. Don't forget that Dimitri's javelin allows him to function as a ranged unit as well.
Life doesn't.
You're in good form.
Yeah, I'll just inch everybody up, but slowly. Have Dimitri throw a javelin behind. Hilda, Ash, and Linhardt move, and that's the end of my turn. Now, I'll admit, it looks like I'm being incredibly wary here, and you should,
Each battle.
because if you didn't notice earlier, all of these characters have different classes. And what I meant by that was, for example, Balthus is not just a grappler, he's a war monk. Happy and Constance are a Valkyrie and Darkfly respectively, which means they've got very different abilities. Not so different that, you know, it's weird, but different enough that if you don't take them seriously, you will get yourself seriously hurt. Now, as you might have noticed, Happy has a pretty good range. Actually, I see the wrong target. This. I'll have Claude stick close.
That was tough. Is this a
My level ups aren't particularly good, but that's not important right now. This part of the map is important because this is where Happy is going to strike you with magic if you get too close. If you can avoid it, please do.
It would behoove you to watch your back.
Oh no! I knew something didn't feel right.
And if you proceed beyond this point, reinforcements come through. The good news is, in the event of a problem, you can always Divine Pulse your way back, or in this case, because I do have the power to take them out.
Sorry, did I hurt you?
I'm going to use Hilda and Edelgard.
Take over for me?
And Linhardt will mop up.
Can't get ahead of myself.
Same thing, I'm just going to slowly move. Now here's something you want to keep in mind. Normally I would suggest, hey, you've got a magic user, just charge in head first. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is Linhardt is currently your only magic user. I'm going to help Edelgard, which means any heavily armored unit, like this Fortress Knight, is going to be a really big obstacle. Now, Dimitri and Byleth are strong enough to go toe-to-toe with him, as well as Edelgard and Hilda, but magic remains the most optimal way. And I'm actually going to end my turn right here. I don't want to provoke with Dimitri just yet. Now, I actually can have Ash move up and start attacking Happy. And this is what I want. I do not want Happy to remain a threat much longer because her range covers a lot of the map that I'm uncomfortable with. And I really don't want her to cover that range. Alternatively, if you don't want to snipe her with Ash, although I would highly suggest doing so, you can have him unlock this door because Ash has lock touch, or whoever has the key, which still is Ash, an enemy will drop a door key that you can use to open it if Ash is incapacitated. But probably don't have Ash incapacitated. Ooh, lucky crit.
That's how it goes.
This is boring.
Alright, that takes up a lot of... that gives you a lot more breathing room. Now, I know it's the way I'm taking out these enemies, it sounds like I'm playing up threats, and it's really not that big of a deal, but trust me on this, it really is not. You really don't want to get to a situation where you are... where you are tackling these new classes on without much of a plan. They are really strong. And these maps are not the easiest.
It's your call.
Alright. I'm actually gonna have... I'll get a bit of rest.
Over already. I must...
You'll notice that Edelgard, as a Fortress Knight, will continue to lag behind for much of the map. That's just how Fortress Knights move. You're just gonna have to plan better.
As expected. Such...
And as annoying as this sounds, you want to get into a habit of equally dividing experience in this map. What do I mean by that? You don't want one character dominating... Oops, javelin. You don't want one character dominating all of the kills. Because in the side stories, there's no way to grind. Meaning, if you're not careful and one person does get a bit too strong, you're out of luck. Actually, it might be a bit too dangerous. I'll have Ash use Deadeye. Oh,
Doing my part.
got a critical.
I'll stick...
I'm getting lucky in this run through. Don't discard your gold bullions. They do have a use. Okay. Now this next part is going to be really tricky, if only because I need you to pay attention to the tiles. These are avoid floor tiles, which will increase your avoid by, as you can see in the upper left corner, 40%. Which means putting your units on them is going to result in a lot of dodging. But subsequently, if an enemy gets on those tiles, you are in a pretty tough spot, or you're going to have to hope for someone with high dexterity. Really high dexterity. Alternatively, magic is a really good alternative.
Underestimate the denizens of Abyss and it tremble and...
Yes, Constance is pretty dangerous. But she's also made herself vulnerable.
You lost to me? I'm still a delicate. It's not that I.
Now there are still a couple of units, but really, at this point I could charge Yuri if I felt like it. I'm not going to, however, because Yuri is a bit stronger than you might expect, despite the units guarding him. I'm going to re-heal Dimitri because he really took a bit of a beating. Actually, Dimitri take out that mage in the far corner.
I must keep.
I'll have him run up here, just to give him a bit of safety. Byleth will take out the other mage.
Should I have held back? You must.
Great level up, but a bit too damaging.
Stay
I'm
focused.
gonna rewind. Hit the mage with a much more powerful Wrath Strike.
You fought well.
Ready and willing.
There's no point saving up your divine pulse charges, so use them when you can.
Progress suits. Well, what have we? Shame indeed.
Yep.
Sorry, did I hurt you?
Byleth got a bit too unlucky. I'm gonna rewind that.
Stay focused.
Ready and willing. Never underestimate an outsider. I'm not.
That is that. You must.
Well, shame.
Let's see if I can successfully dodge the odds, or... Nope. I haven't, so I'm just gonna have to redo that a little bit different.
Stay
In this
focused.
case...
Each battle, a chance to grow. So,
Ready and willing. Sorry, but victory is mine. Progress. Careful.
Whoop. May have done that a bit too poorly.
Allow me to demonstrate.
that
Nope.
is that.
I lucked out. Now, just to make use of what experience I can,
I'll give it my all.
Who, me?
Ready and willing.
I did not manage to hurt that.
Never underestimate an outsider. I'll cut through. Who's next?
Goes into positive scenario. Instead, I'll just wait. I'm not going to use the Sword of the Creator just yet.
Wow, Shane.
I'm just going to keep redoing that because I actually made a bit of a mistake.
Who?
Here.
You lost to me?
There we go.
Ready and willing. That's the golden deer for you.
I can actually have Claude retreat very
I'll
far.
cut through. Wow, Shane.
Hit Yuri with a javelin.
Stay focused.
And follow it up. With the professor. Oh man. This is what I mean. Yuri is actually pretty a pretty decent opponent, so don't underestimate him. Oop, that's not what I wanted.
Wow, Shane. It's our chance to prevail.
So I'll use a gambit.
Stay focused. Predictable.
Just heal himself. And I'll just finish this off with Byleth, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist like that.
Should I have held back? We must all.
And that is the, or shall I say, a skirmish in Abyss, the first battle of the Cindered Shadows side story. Really, just take your time, move up the map cautiously but carefully. Be aware of the reinforcements that come in, and really don't underestimate any of the new classes, especially Yuri, because as you just saw in the last few minutes, he's a pretty tough adversary. Also, whoever's the MVP in any of the side story battles will get additional experience, which may or may not help a lot, depending on how lucky you are with the level ups. But that is it for oh my goodness. That is it for this walkthrough. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video, because I will be doing the full walkthrough for the Cindered Shadows side story. Oh, and you also get 30 smithing stones at the end, but that'll come into play later. Anyway, I will see you in the next video, and if you like this video, please do subscribe. There will be more videos like this in the future. Until then, see you next time.
It's safe to say we've won this round.